Hello, good evening, everyone. Tonight, we're gathered for a City Council business meeting. Today is Thursday, May 7, 2026. Please join me with a Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. We've got an empty seat at the end of the bench. That's Josh Lilly. Josh Lilly is in travel status right now, but he is joining us via Zoom and remotely, so we'll be participating fully in tonight's meeting in that fashion. Because he is on Zoom, we're going to be doing something a little bit different tonight. When we take votes of the council, it's going to be through a roll call. That's what's necessary when we have someone participating via Zoom. So if that's a little out of the ordinary, that's why. So interesting meeting tonight, and it begins with an interesting presentation tonight. We have our 2026 Edwards Dam Scholarship Student Essay winners. We have two winners this year, one of whom is here tonight, Madison Estabrook, and we would invite her to come forward and read her essay for us. Hi, Madison. Come right up here and speak, introduce yourself and speak right into the microphone, and we'd be happy to hear your essay.
All right. Hi, my name is Madison Estabrook. I go to Coney High School, and here is my Edward Dam essay. The importance of the Edward Dam and where it once stood is crucial not only to the history of it, but also the relationship with the Kennebec River in Augusta, Maine. The dam was removed on July 1st, 1999, which now has been transformed into a free-flowing river, with the location being redeveloped into a park along with a boat launch. The importance of the Kennebec River has many vital meanings to our history, such as the historic, economic, and ecological significance it serves to this day. The river and dam have shaped Augusta's growth not only economically but also the industry and community lives for over 20 years. The relationship reflects changing perspectives toward the given resources in our town's development. Before the Edward Dam was built, the Kennebec River served significant roles. One of these roles consisted of the river being one of the most known places for massive fish runs. This is what supported what's called a diverse ecosystem. It wasn't only used for fishing, but for logging routes and transportation as well. People such as indigenous people like Wabanaki relied on the river for food and transportation. Along with the indigenous people also came European settlers who relied on the river for all sorts of things. These things consisted of using the river as a route to move goods from point A to point B. Settlers would harvest any fish they were able to catch for food and survival. Beginning in the 1790s, the river was also used as a logging to transport the logs to mills. This river encouraged settlement in Augusta by acting as the importance of transportation for trades and later on industrialization. The river's not only importance was transportation, but the industrial power of its water by providing power for sawmills and later on windmills too. Now, the construction of the Edward Dam began in Augusta of 1837 and began to be a major industrial project during the 19th century. The structure was built across a 1,000-foot stretch of the Kennebec to utilize energy. Its purpose was to industrialize the area, create more movement for sawmills, also adding a cotton factory as well to support the growth of Augusta. The dam's power and what was created along with it, such as textile manufacturers, mills, etc., is what started to establish the city of what we now know as Augusta. The dam converted the kinetic energy from the Kennebec, eventually providing hydropower to power the mills and manufacturers across the dam. This dam and its power provided economic growth for about 162 years before it had been removed. Throughout the years the dam stood, it provided more than just energy giving off support and stability to thousands of people and their jobs throughout the city of Augusta. The economic activity provided renewable energy for over 30,000 homes, along with supporting all the industrial movements. These individual mills surrounding the dam had residents of about 100 people employed throughout a full manufacture. Along with the dam having people employed, giving off economical stability and benefits, it became an important part of the community life. There would be activities such as kayaking, boating, swimming spots, and even some fishing along the dam. Although the dam had some significant impacts, there were some environmental effects that took place with this. These environmental effects after the dam was built led to disruption of fish migration with not as many types of fish being in the river as before, along with alternation of the natural flow of the river, possibly disrupting transportation pathways and changes in water temperature across the river's ecosystem. The removal of the Edward Dam was a decision made by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission against the owner's wishes. The decision was based on the fact that restoring the 17-mile stretch river outweighed the economic value of keeping the dam due to the value being worth more than the 3.5 megawatts of electricity that was being produced. This process began with cofferdams to divert water from the dam, then exploding the structures with hands-on removal to get rid of remaining debris. As we look at the river today, it represents both the industrial past and environmental future of Augusta. The reflection of the Kennebec River from transformation from an industrial energy and transportation source reflects Augusta by prioritizing the economic misuse to the environmental management, public access, and the community's way of life.
Well done. So yep, I'll be right with you. So the other winner is Neela Parker. Neela couldn't be with us tonight, and there'll be an order later on the agenda where we formally make the award. But Councilor Michoud?
Thank you. I have the privilege of being on that committee to pick the winners, and that was probably the most in-depth, concise history of the Edwards Dam that I've had the pleasure of reading. But both of your essays were incredible because we usually only do one, but both of them were so good. We were compelled to give each one of you a scholarship, and good luck with your post-secondary education. Thank you.
Thank you again. Congratulations. Well done. We're going to move next to a proclamation in recognition of Emergency Medical Services Week. And I have a proclamation here at the bench that I'm going to read from the bench, but make sure that Chief Groder and Deputy Chief Leach get this for their team. And it reads as follows. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of emergency medical services teams are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas emergency medical services has grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas the members of the Augusta Fire Department have been providing emergency medical services to the City of Augusta and surrounding communities since February 6 of 1975. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers by designating the Emergency Medical Services Week. Now, therefore, I, Mark O'Brien, Mayor of Augusta, Maine, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May 17th through the 23rd, 2026, as Emergency Medical Services Week. The 52nd Annual EMS Week theme is EMS Week, Improving Outcomes Together. I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. Happy to offer this proclamation to recognize our EMS services. I don't know, Chief or Deputy Chief, is there anything you want to add, or?
The street every day, doing all the hard work. So how about you guys go up
You're certainly welcome. Next on our agenda, we have two different public hearings. We'll do them one after the other. The first public hearing has to do with Motivational Services, Inc., CDBG grant application. So I'll open the public hearing on that. You may recall a few weeks ago that we had a public hearing with respect to support of this CDBG grant application. Turns out at the time there were a couple of formalities with respect to the process or the hearing process that we didn't capture for purposes of their grant application and scoring. So we're going to do a little bit of a do-over tonight to take care of those things. One is the appropriate public notice, which has been done, as well as the need to have a written attendance list for people here for the public hearing. So I think, is Katie Ramirez going to? Okay. The way we'll conduct the public hearing is I'll open the hearing, which I have done. I will invite staff to make any remarks that they want to make, and then ask the applicant or applicant's representative if any testimony they'd like to offer. Then I'll invite any public testimony for those in support of the application. Then ask for any testimony from persons opposed, and then finally, persons who wish to speak neither for nor against but would like to testify nevertheless. Return to the applicant for any final words and close the public hearing. Later on tonight's agenda, it's not on tonight's agenda. We've already done that. It's the public hearing that we're
That's correct.
taking care of tonight. So with that, Katie Ramirez.
Hi, good evening, City Manager Mills, and to Mayor Mark O'Brien and members of the Augusta City Council. My name is Katie Ramirez. I am the city's Economic Development Specialist, and today I'm here to speak at this public hearing in regard to the 2026 CDBG Housing Assistance Program application that Motivational Services, Inc. and LB Development Partners are pursuing in sponsorship with the City of Augusta. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to engage members of the public on this development project. The development project that is led by Motivational Services, Inc. is one that demonstrates alignment with the goals and needs expressed by the community. And in order to pursue grant funding through this program, per CDBG program guidelines, a municipality needs to serve as an eligible applicant on behalf of a local project sponsor. Joining us tonight is Executive Director John Zarelli of Motivational Services, Inc., who will speak this evening to talk about the project and how it aligns with community goals and needs around housing specifically. So just to give just a brief status update, Mayor O'Brien had already touched on this, but earlier this year, the city staff had submitted a letter of intent to the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development for this project, which was approved and allowed the city staff, along with Motivational Services, Inc., to pursue completing and submitting a full application. So part of that application is to have this public hearing to engage the public that has the 10-day minimum public notice, as well as record of attendance, which is right by the council chambers doors. If attendees wouldn't mind being able to sign that attendance sheet, that would be very helpful for our purposes. These documents will be compiled in order to meet the upcoming grant deadline, which is set for May 15th, 2026. I'll stop my testimony right there, but for any questions or comments that folks have, I and city staff will be happy to address them with members of the council and members of the public. Thank you.
Thank you. I invite the applicant to come forward.
Thank you. My name is John Zarulli from Motivational Services, otherwise known as MoCA. I want to thank the City Council for having me back here tonight, and I'm hoping that we can move forward with our CDBG funding application. Dan Black would normally be here with me. He's unable to attend tonight, but Dan works with nonprofits to secure funding for affordable housing projects such as this one. We completed a similar project over at 18 Green Street. I think it's been a wonderful enhancement to the neighborhood and to the city of Augusta. Where our current project is at 30 Glenridge Drive. That's a vacant lot that MoCo's owned since 2006. We've completed the design and funding process with Maine State Housing, and we have a guaranteed max price contract. Our issue is that for applying for these funds is that the grade of the property is below the sewer. And what we need to do is bring in fill to raise it up literally like 4 to 5 inches in order to have positive drainage. So the project is completely shovel ready, as Dan would say, and we just need this small funding gap to complete it. Motivational Services serves persons with severe and persistent mental illness. We've been around since 1976. We serve persons coming out of Dorothea Dix and Riverview Psychiatric. This particular project we've identified for residents who are getting older or aging in place. 41% of our current residents are over the age of 50. And working and living in our older group homes becomes more and more problematic over time. So we want to keep them as safe as possible. This will be a one-floor facility. Each person will have their own an individual bathroom, and there'll be a central community room for socialization that's really beneficial in the treatment that we provide. So we're hoping that we can move forward. So
Thank you.
all I
Councilors have any questions? Councilor Judkins?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Zarelli,
yes,
how are you this evening?
very good. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Smoko's pretty name, we've heard a lot around here, doing lots of wonderful things for the community. Would you have any kind of knowledge as to how many properties in Augusta Moco actually owns?
About 14 properties.
14 properties. Are you familiar with the term pilot, which is payment in lieu of taxes?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Does MoCo pay any pilots to the city of Augusta for these 14 properties?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Not that you're
No,
aware
no,
of.
we're not. We do not.
You do not? Okay. Is that something that they would consider at some point in
Yes,
time?
we would consider.
That would be a very welcome thing, especially given what we're going to be talking about tonight and the struggles that we are starting to have.
Right now, we are completely flat funded, like many of the other PNMIs,
Can
all of the
understand.
PNMIs in the state. It's been a challenge for us. But
Yep.
down the line, when we get funding moving again, we'll be happy to talk about
If you
that.
could give some thought to that, it
Sure.
would be, a lot of gratitude would come with it.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Nope. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll be given another shot at the end,
Okay.
if there's anything you forgot. All right. Would anybody like to speak in favor of the application, support? Seeing none, anybody who wishes to speak in opposition? Does anybody like to speak neither for nor against, but would like to testify nevertheless? All right. Hearing none. Jonathan, is there anything else you want to add at this point? Okay. With that, close the public hearing. As I mentioned before, we already took action on it. We're doing this to satisfy our public notice and other requirements for the application of the program. All right. With that, I'm going to open the second public hearing. This has to do with a license for a new cannabis dispensary, 269 Western Avenue, Augusta, Western Ave, Augusta, Maine, CH LLC. Does staff have any report or comment? City clerk, they've passed all their internal checks from the various departments, what they need?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay. Is the applicant here or the applicant's representative? Please come forward.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Brett Scott, the owner of 269 Western Ave, Augusta, Maine, CHLLC. So we are just here the Office of Cannabis Policy has kind of made a change in their interpretation that if your company is owned by an overlying corporation, that they want you to be a dispensary rather than a caregiver. They want to keep caregivers to being sole proprietorships. And I have an overarching corporation over this LLC. And so ultimately I'm here to see about getting a dispensary license opposed to the existing caregiver license, just to work towards that goal that OCP has asked us to do.